I definitely am. This thing's on. Okay, we all good? Ready to start? Well, it's an exciting day. There's just so much work that goes into recruiting, and it's always exciting when it comes to an end, and you get the guys you're looking for, and excitement about the additions. And so I do want to take this time to thank our coaches. Those guys worked so hard for such a long time on a lot of these kids. I mean, over a year process on some of them. And in particular, Vince Ginta and Derek Ray, everything they put into this thing, from visits to organization, those guys did a phenomenal job. We kind of wanted to, big picture-wise, build this roster for long-term success. And we thought it was going to be important to be, creative as we looked at adding to the roster. And you're going to see that in the signings there, the mix of the ages from high school to junior college to some transfers. Did feel a whole lot better in regards to just knowing our roster in our second time doing this thing. And think back a year ago about this time. Really pleased with what we got accomplished. I think we highlighted that with a lot of those freshmen that were playing this year. But, to have the whole year and the whole staff and really understanding what we're looking for in our identification process. Coaches, again, did a great job. And so, knew we have some needs. We got some needs that will show up maybe in a couple of years, just again, knowing our roster a little bit more. And so just building the thing for some long-term success. You get 25 initials per year. That's what you get. And so we wanted to be creative with those, and that's why you can see some of the numbers of where we're at. We're not completely full at this point, which we wanted to be. We wanted to have a couple of available scholarships here for this month of January. I think about, again, last January getting Jamar Jefferson and Matthew Togo and Brandon Kipper and Teagan. And, all of those came after the first signing date. So we wanted to leave ourselves a little bit of flexibility, and we were able to do that. And then also our process is just identifying early of what we know fits us, trusting our own evaluation after our coaches can get in front of them, see them play, get them on campus, meet the family, look at the academic situation. And so really pleased with what we got done. I am. I think the future's bright as we continue to build this roster and then develop the current player that's here. What I'd like to do is just kind of quickly go through each guy so you guys can get a little tidbit on what the process was like and where we see him fitting. And then I'll answer some questions after we knock this out. Kind of start with Alex Austin, corner, Long Beach Poly. Similar TJ Hushmanzada story. TJ's got some ties to Long Beach Poly. He was helping out at one point over there. Alex, we feel like, is a rangy, good corner. Can cover, he's got man skills, not shy to tackle. Great kid, awesome home visits with him, and pleased with his addition. Evan Bennett, we identified Evan really early in this process, even before he started playing at Mater Dei, because he played at Mater Dei his senior year, got him and his mom up here this summer, and really explained the vision for him, not just Corvallis-wise, but also where he's fit defensively. I mean, we felt like he would be a great addition, playing nose for us, stuck with us the whole time, playing at a high school, had a phenomenal year. I want to say every coach or every school in America went through that high school and saw him, and so we were able to hold on to him. He'll be here in January to get started. Michael Earhart, linebacker, plan on playing him inside from Chaminade. This guy is unique in regards to plays a bunch of positions. You see him, he athletically enough. He was playing some safety this year. He's catching the ball offensively. I think he's a very instinctive player. Again, early identified by Coach Bray, really, this summer, and was able to hold on to him the whole time. Jojo Forrest, I think this kid is epitome of what we're looking for work ethic-wise and love of football. He's got some talent now. He can run. He's got man skills to cover. But what they asked him to do, both sides of the ball, is never come off the field. They play him at boundary corner. He's running every snap on defense, flip him around. He's playing receiver in an up-tempo offense, and he practiced that way. So we're excited about JoJo. Ryan Frankie fits exactly what we're looking for at outside linebacker from a high school kid in regards to his athleticism, his body type. What I also like about Frankie is that he ended up playing a little bit inside, defensive line, and so banging around against the guard, center, tackle, not just always playing on the edge, showed his physicality throughout the year. Had a phenomenal year, winning a bunch of games as well. You guys have known that Tristan Jabya is one of these initials that we're spinning on, and he's been here in the fall. He has not disappointed at all in practice, and being around him now for a term. He's what you're looking for at quarterback in regards to his work ethic, his arm talent. I think he's got some natural leadership skills, and he was a phenomenal student this term as well, getting a 4.0, and so he's just off to a great start here. Anxious to see him get some turns with the first group here in the spring ball because he was doing all scout team, during the fall and did a great job with it. Anthony Gould, receiver, homegrown, right here out of this state, going to West Salem High School. He can run. And that's what stood out first with Anthony is that, yeah, he ran great track times, but then you get to watch him play football. The kid's physical, and it's not just straight line speed, and that's all he's got. He's got good hands. He can run routes. He played on both sides of the ball. He's an elite returner. I was at a game this fall when he kickoff return and punt return back to the house. And so I like his physicality. He's not just a track guy, a great kid, and he'll be here in January to be able to get started soon. Addison Gums, outside linebacker. Again, looking at the roster, we got to continue to look at guys at the line of scrimmage. I think this guy's going to help us immediately. Again, 3 years to play, highly recruited kid, went to Oklahoma, did some things there actually, and a couple of different reasons, wanted to get closer to the West Coast, and through our connections and coaches, we were able to get in the mix and start recruiting him and got him here. He'll be here in January, still recovering from an ACL, which that is actually ahead of schedule, and he looks great. I saw him in December. So he plans to help us. He's got 3 years to play as well. Kelson Hennessy, another out of the state of Oregon, Clackamas. He's one we recruited the whole year. He was familiar with Oregon State when I got here. The staff got completed, got some ties to the university, but we feel like physicality-wise, he's ready to play as a youngster. Because he's got the weight and the strength. You can see how hard-nosed he is. And it was really a great keep for us throughout the process for him sticking strong to us. Tyshawn Lindsay, another, again, transfer with 3 years to play. Dynamic, high school, definitely with the ball in his hands, doing some unbelievable things. Has not disappointed in practice this fall, running the scout team, and you could just see it. The guy loves football. He's got a dynamic personality. He's actually helped us, I think, in recruiting process because a lot of our guys we were talking to are aware of him, and we're aware that he was here on campus, so spending an initial on him for sure, and he'll be ready to go this fall with 3 years to play. Had another phenomenal term this term academically as well, 3.2, 15 units. Teron Madison, running back, Banning. He looks the part now, 6'1", over 200 pounds. Liked his ability to do multiple things. The guy's playing some quarterback. He's actually throwing some touchdowns. Like, his quarterback numbers are not bad, but he is a natural back, making it physical. Had to work really hard and got it done in the classroom. He'll be here in January to go through some spring practice, and I just think there's a difference when you got big backs back there, and he's one of them. He can run, but he's got a unique skill set because he played some quarterback. Luke Musgrave, the tight end out of Bend, really pleased with this. Compliment our coaches. Talk about early identification, seeing the guy almost a year ago, getting him over here to camp, really the thorough process of recruiting him. This guy had a bunch of options, but I think the best fit for him was to come to Oregon State. I think we're going to be able to use him offensively at the tight end position. He's got a skill set to split out, can play at the line of scrimmage and block a defensive end. I think he fits perfectly what we want to do. Great kid, athletic family, skiers, other sports, all kinds of stuff. The guy, really excited about what he brings to the table. Avery Roberts kind of concludes our transfer piece in the initials. Was here in practice, physical, inside linebacker. Can't wait for him to be able to continue to grow with us in the scheme and knowing it. The guy's been a great addition to help us on the defensive side, and obviously he's here already. Another guy that got a 3.3 GPA in the first term. Winston Russell is a corner. Kind of the backstory on him, Chicago, you see it from a little bit further outside our footprint. Tibbs was actually starting to recruit him at Wisconsin. Developed a relationship there, and that's why we got the inroad to get it done. Feel like he's got some real man-to-man skills. Who's out here in the summer, and we were able to hold on to him. He'll be here in January as well. And he's got, this is the type of mentality on the defensive side we were looking for. Simon Sandberg, great story here, all the way over from Sweden. Unique story, wants to just come to the United States. He wants to play football. and so he gets himself over here, has to work at a couple of different schools to get there, and gets to San Francisco City. Actually suffers an injury this year, so he hasn't played maybe as much as he would have liked, but he's going to be a great addition for us. He'll be here in January. The physicality's there, the work ethic. You can see just the desire and the love of football. And so that's the type of mentality we were looking for. And really, to continue to help change the line of scrimmage, I think he does that for us. Omar, all the way from Coach Sanders over there at Crescent Valley. Omar's other older brother is Jeremy Reichner. Plays defensive line for us. That's where the inroads. We actually were recruiting him when he was over in Pennsylvania. For multiple reasons, he was able to get over here to Corvallis to finish the high school and played well there. He's been around a bunch. He'll be here in January, physical, ready to, really has the height and weight already to be able to contribute, and so we're anxious about him starting in January. Corey Stover, another, again, in this state, identification early, held on from a couple of other people wanting to recruit him, but I think he fits us, the work ethic. He's a good basketball player, was able to get over there and watch him play basketball. Long, length, can continue to grow. He can rush the passer at defensive end, give him the opportunity to do that. I'm not certain he couldn't play tight end. I went over and watched him against Junction City. They were playing, and the guy catches multiple balls for touchdowns, and so he's got a skill set that, allows for some flexibility, but we'll start him at the defensive end spot and let him go from there. Rob Vanderlaan, offensive lineman. Again, another guy will be here in January. Anticipate him playing tackle, but we'll kind of see how that goes. But he's another kid who's got 3 years to play. We'll be here in January to learn the scheme and get going. All-conference type player. I think he's a good pass. He has a good pass set, natural at it, and is physical in the run game. And then Jordan Whitley, our last piece from Laney. Really interior defensive lineman, initially a running back out of high school. Took an injury, continued to gain some weight. Still looks athletic like a running back, but he's in the backfield a ton, and so we were pleased to get him. He will be here in January as well to get started. So, like I said, it's a variety of the group. We feel good in regards to what we needed, our needs of the roster. The type of kids we were looking for was very clean in my mind on that, and our coaches did a phenomenal job.
Coach, if my math is correct, I think there's 5 players on this list with Oregon connections. So my question to you is this to show your commitment to local athletes, A, and B, what does it mean that the talent in Oregon's pretty darn good?
Yeah, I think the talent is good, because trust me, I want to recruit in this state and get the best players out of this state. But they got to be good players, and these guys are. I think it's fortunate. It's worked out that way that there's 4 or 5 really good players this year that are in this state that we were able to get. I think it helps us in regards to what we're looking for. We know what we want evaluation-wise with the talent, the makeup, their desire for football, and they were right here pretty close to us.
Coach, how pleased were you to be able to get depth and instant talent, particularly on defense with this recruiting class in the way of transfers, JC guys, and freshmen as well?
I feel awesome. I didn't want to sacrifice the long-term success of the program, and so we weren't going to do a bunch of, just one-year wonder and they're rolling, because that would satisfy maybe immediate need, but then they're gone. And so I think we did an awesome job in regards to we got some immediate needs. We're going to have to see these guys play, obviously. But they're going to be here longer than just 1 year, and to let them continue to grow and develop and get around our coaches and these guys on this team to continue to build it the way we want to do it.
Coach, obviously largely tilted towards defense. Was that something you came in knowing that it was going to end up that way?
Not totally. I mean, you just look at the depth and where guys are graduating the next, not just this year, but the next year. Like our whole secondary is back. Well, those guys are going to eventually graduate. That's why you see the 3 freshman corners. We still have a couple of spaces for a couple spots. So, we wanted to fill the roster in regards to having depth at every spot, and I think it just played out a little bit more defensively.
Coach, it seemed like a large number of these kids are going to be here in January. How important is that for them to get in early and get that head start?
Yeah, I think it's a benefit for them / us. It's almost like a high school kid, 5.5 years. Again, I think it's important, like each kid, it's got to be the right fit for them to be coming in January. A lot of these guys were ready. They wanted to go, get to college and get started. It fits us because we get them, for a whole winter off-season workout-wise, get into spring practice. So it's huge. It wasn't any kind of deal breaker, though. I will say we're really excited about a lot of these guys that are going to be showing up in June. So it wasn't a deal breaker that way. It just worked out well.
Coach, can you talk about the center position, what it looks like for the future with Sumner gone, and are you done looking for people who might fill that role?
We're not done looking for that role. I think that, we've got a couple guys currently on the roster that can play some center and do some good things. But it wouldn't be, another O-line spot I can see happening, whether that's in February or later.
Coach, do you have an idea on when you want to start spring practices this year?
We're really shooting for kind of the end of March, a couple of weeks before spring break, do it that way, and then 3 weeks in April is the plan. I don't know the exact date on the top of my head, but I think it's the third week of March getting started.
Coach, what's the formula for replacing guys? When they're juniors, then you, in that position, then you go get that position because you figure they might have to have a redshirt year?
I think ideally you're replacing them, as juniors. It kind of depends on the position too and where you're at, but ideally you're getting them there. They can go through a first year or redshirt year, and then by the second year they're in the two deep, and the third year in the program starting. I think that's ideal. Not always easy to play out.
And do you have, you got a pretty good haul of transfers that were 4 and 5 stars. You got any more guys like that,
Yeah. We're always recruiting. We're always looking for good players. Really excited about this group. And again, we just got a few spots left. Not a ton, but enough for us to feel good about it.
You mentioned a couple of different players that you say can make an impact right away. Which one of these players specifically do you think makes the biggest splash next season?
Oh man, I hate just singling out, but I do feel good about the kids that I'm able to see in practice already this fall. I think those guys they'll help us if they continue to grow and work. I just think it adds to the competition in every room by position. The more competition you can get up, you get to quality play where you want it.
Coach, your first year as the head coach was also the first year of the new redshirt rule.
Yeah.
What's your review on that, and how does that tweak the way you recruit?
Yeah, I don't know if it tweaks the way you recruit. I like the rule. I like how we did it. We had some true freshmen that were getting quality time, and they didn't redshirt. But we had a good amount of other guys that got in the game, and that experience. These guys work so hard in practice. For them to actually see some game time, it makes a difference for them morale-wise and developmental-wise. And so we had, I want to say, almost half a dozen guys play up to 4 games, and then we shut them down.
Coach, can you just kind of talk about Tristan Jabya, what he brings at the quarterback position? Then the second part of that, anything new on Jake Luton potentially pursuing a 6th season?
Yep, kind of backwards on you, but yeah, nothing new with Jake. Still going through kind of the process of the paperwork and things. I think Tristan, his love of football just shows up. The way he wants to go to meetings, he works after practice. You can just see it while he's practicing and around the guys. He's got a skill set. I think he's accurate. I think he's a pretty good athlete. I mean, we're not going to be asking him to pull the ball a ton, just like we don't in our scheme, but I think he's got some athleticism there. And, I'm kind of excited about that group to continue to develop. Like Nick Moore, the guy come out here, he had a phenomenal fall in regards to practice, and he's got some talent. He's going to get some options and turns in the spring. And so I feel confident where that group's at. And we just like everybody, we want to keep them improving.
Coach, going into the January workouts and all of that, how does that compare now to maybe where you were a year ago, as far as guys hitting the ground running, pretty healthy and getting after it?
Yep. We actually kind of talked about this to some of our recruits even, is, a year ago, new strength coach Mike McDonald, new program, new techniques, new way of doing things. And so a year ago when he gets there, and working with our guys, it took us about 4 to 5 weeks of just truly teaching the technique. I mean, you just can't throw guys in there, new technique, put a ton of weight on the bar, you're going to be injuring guys. And so that's why I feel even better about where we're at this January. We will hit the ground running in regards to week 2. They know where they're going. We're also healthier. I mean, last year came in at about this point, we had a bunch of guys coming off surgeries, long-term injuries, that. We only got a couple of them right now. And so that's the goal. In the next couple of months, we got to get bigger, stronger, and faster. And I feel awesome with the guy we got leading that thing and the work ethic of these kids.
in so many of these biographies, the quotes from the young men, so many of them talk about the beauty of the campus, the feel of the town, the green of the state, all of these things. You're looking for the right fit, but it sounds like the people you're getting in here loved what they experienced on their visit and with you, with all of the coaches.
Yeah, again, we're looking for well-rounded guys that are really good players. Football is really important, but also with a little bit of awareness of a college experience, and that's what the best college town in America is. And so we were looking for the right fit that appreciated a lot of that. And again, I go back to Derek Ray and Vince Ginta in regards to setting those weekends up to really showing the best of Oregon State while they're here.
With so many recruits on the defensive side of the ball, and obviously that being something that you guys wanted to explore specifically with tackling, what have you seen out of those defensive recruits, and what made them, stand out to you?
Yeah, I think anytime you're recruiting a defensive guy, they got to show a willingness to tackle on tape. I don't care what position you play, and so that's full of these guys that we're getting. And then again, the love of football and then get better. Across these guys we signed / who's in the roster right now, I mean, that we're getting closer to that type of mentality, and it's going to pay some dividends.
Coach, obviously, since the season, Jamar's been recognized nationally a lot. How much was that part of the pitch of here's a freshman, having success right away?
Yeah, I mean, you sell what shows up, and so the opportunity for some of these young guys is going to be here because we let guys go and compete. Jamar took off and run with that. I think. If I'm an offensive lineman, I want to be going to a place that has a big-time back that has a long career ahead of him. And so you're using those things. And, again, telling the story of the type of kid Jamar is, and that's why he's so successful, and that's why we're signing the guys we're signing.
Could you tell us a little bit about Sandberg from Sweden? I know he played and he's got good numbers, but just looking at him, are you pleasantly surprised at how far along he's come as a guy from somewhere far away where they don't have the sport of football?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know about surprise, but that's why we're recruiting him, because he has developed, because he desires and wants to play football at a high level. But I also think his upside is really high because he hasn't been around the game for so long. Because he's got the physical dimensions and he's got a great mentality. We can work with that.
Anything else, Dylan? Thank you, Coach.
Okay.